Hello everyone, I just thought I'd share my experience with the Thule Atmos X5 waterproof case for the iPhone 6s Plus that I got to go with my new iPhone 6s Plus. Now I'm not like some of the folks on YouTube who somehow managed to come up with many iPhones to test and break and throw in lava and stuff. So I just have the one. I'm going to open it up here in a little bit. I'll do that separately. And then I did want to just share with people, since I noticed when I was looking to find out information about this particular waterproof case for the iPhone 6s Plus, that I didn't see anything sort of practical. I saw the commercials, which were great, but not necessarily helpful in terms of making a decision about what this case is going to do and what it's going to look like. So here's the case. It's got a very nice box. You can tell that their marketing people worked hard, because this is the same kind of images that you see in their videos. It's got a sweet sort of flip open thing, and then you can get a sense for just how gigantic this case is. I mean, I know the phone's big, but this is really big, so let me see. Well, that's probably not the best ruler. Here we go. It's a little bit simpler. Okay, so there's a ruler to give you a sense. The case is looking to be pretty close to 7 inches tall and just about 3.5 inches wide, more or less. So this is a big, gigantic case. I do, appreciate this extra protection that they're demonstrating here on the surface, because that's one of the things I'm most concerned about in a case that's going to protect the display, which I've seen so many people with broken cases. Fortunately, I haven't had one yet myself, but that's probably because I do what I'm going to do now, which is move the phone straight from the box over there to the case over here, pretty much without interruption, because I've just seen so many things happen in between when people don't have them protected. Anyway, so this is what the box looks like. We'll open it up here and see how the process goes. Okay, so I'm going to open up this case and take it out of the box. By the way, if you hear kind of squealing in the background, it's because I work at a school. You see on the top of the packaging, there's the little tape seal, so they can tell when it's been opened. It does look like on the bottom, though, there's a little tab here, so I'm just going to pop that out. Let's see if I can get it without having to take those tape pieces off. Oh, good. Okay, so just slide this out. Oh, it's going to pull the tape. There you go. So, still pull the tape off. Alright, so this whole tray slides out. It's got, oops, already lost the little leash thing for it. And then there's the actual case. Yeah, it's in 2 pieces. I already figured that out from the video that I saw from the company. Okay, so there we go. Have your instructions, which looks to be quite a lengthy booklet. 31 pages. It's probably different languages too. But anyways, so it gives you an instruction booklet. This appears to be the faceplate, and then this is the back. Let's see what it says here. Insert this end of the phone first, maintaining alignment of foam for best sound. Okay, so it gives you that instruction. So bottom in first, and we'll lay it down. I'll set this aside. Let's see. I'm not going to read through all the instructions on the video, so I'm going to turn off the video for a minute, read through the instructions, and then see how complicated this really is. Alright, so as you can see, they've thoughtfully included a microfiber cloth that's nicely packaged. Really appreciate that when a company does that, when they expect you to wipe it off so you don't have to go searching for a microfiber cloth. So apparently what they want us to do is to take the phone, which I actually don't have it out of the box yet, and wipe off any fingerprints or dust. I do notice that when you have a faceplate on a phone, that if you have anything, a speck of dust, fingerprints, it just stays there and it's really irritating. So, and also to wipe off the faceplate itself in case that's gotten fingerprints on it. This is a process you might want to do with some sort of gloves that don't have an oil or a powder. I'm just going to do the best I can with my hands, but it depends on how intent you are in making sure there's no dust or marks or anything. But just a thought that might help the process. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got the phone in the case. There was a little bit of a conflict between what the written instructions said in the book and what the little paper said that was inserted into the case. which said to put the bottom in. The insert said to put the bottom in first, and the instruction said to put the left side where the mute button is in first. So I basically, it ended up working where the left side needed to go in first, so that's what I did. And then on the next page it talks about pushing it down with the thumbs right there, and that was actually a little trickier than it sounds. Had to press pretty forcefully to get that to go in there, and so it does look like it's in there now. And then of course all this pushing and stuff, I wiped off the surface, which does seem to be doing pretty well in terms of keeping dust and fingerprints off. And remember, this is coming straight from the box there, over into the case, so this should be the least possible amount of fingerprints on it at this time. So now, let's see, there is a protective film on the outside here. I guess it's just on that outside. Okay, so this is where we're going to put the case on, and I was able to, the faceplate, I was able to get the left side to snap in earlier, which I like the fact that it's got a real positive, you can tell it's secure, but I'm having trouble getting the right side. Let's see if I can get the right side. So, as you can see, it's a little tricky to get this thing to snap on. It could look really easy in the video, but it's a little hard. Okay, so let's see. There we go. Alright, so it's on. The bottoms. Oof. Okay, so I'm just share with you that it was quite a bit of force to snap those things in, which I guess is a good thing in terms of you want to, you want something that's holding nice and tight. This again is the 6S Plus, brand new phone, so I'm going to peel off this protective cover. Oh, hey, there I am. So you can see that it's a real shiny surface. Let's look acting as mirror. Hi everybody. So again, it's not quite as thick as I thought it would make it, but it's definitely adding some thickness and some height, which of course you're going to expect in a protective case that's protecting against drops and also hopefully waterproof. Now, unfortunately, because I don't have 20 or 30 of these iPhones sitting around, I can't do the waterproof portion. I'll leave that to other folks who have access to more phones than I do. But just wanted to share my experience for those of you who are going to be looking at Thule for potentially a waterproof case. Let me see here. Alright. So responsiveness seems to be pretty good in terms of the touch. Going to take care of setup here and see if I can share anything more in terms of function, in terms of the buttons on the side or the Touch ID on the bottom. Again, I won't be able to share or to test waterproofness. That's going to have to be somebody else with more iPhones than I have. But I just wanted to go through this setup process with you and help those of you who are going to be shopping around for a waterproof case, which is something I have a really hard time finding, a good one for an iPhone. And let me finish the setup and then I'll try and come back in a little bit. Hey everyone, just thought I'd come back and share with you how my experience went getting the case on and unfortunately off and then back on again because I realized I had not put the SIM from my old phone into the new phone. Anyways, so a couple notes about that. Make sure if you're going to change the SIM that you do it before you start putting on the case. That's an important note. And secondly, after I got the case on the first time, the faceplate, I noticed there was a fingerprint not on the top where it can be wiped off, but underneath. It gets back to what I was saying, that maybe you want to put on gloves, or just you're going to have to be especially careful when you put the faceplate on not to touch it underneath, where then the fingerprint's going to be like forever. The other thing I've noticed with this phone, and you can see now that it's all set up and activated and everything, hopefully, is that, and this is going to be pretty much impossible to show in the video, but the surface, if you can see here how there's my finger has a little bit of play. It's almost like an air pocket under most of the screen. The other thing I've noticed is that the Touch ID that's a very deep well. I was not able to fully complete the setup process on the phone with my fingerprint on the edges. It just somehow it wasn't registering or just didn't work for some reason. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more experimenting with that. Also, I noticed I read the instructions, which is always a good idea to do first, of course, is that when you put the faceplate on, you want to start from the top, get the top edge on there, and then what I found is if you flip the phone around and kind of work your way down the sides, and press the thing down until you get to the bottom, and then it suggests doing the sides, snap bars, on one at a time, and those do kind of unsnap. They don't lie flat. That's an important note from the instruction book. Don't force them down flat because that'll break them or make them not work right. So, and then it's good to use two hands, and then they snap back on pretty easily. It's a fair amount of force, but it was doable. And then the other thing I realized after I got this phone in there, because my plan is to use this as kind of the everyday case, and then maybe get a folio case or something. Since this phone is so big, it might not need the waterproof case all the time. And so then I went through the process of getting the case off. And I was worried about that because putting it on was so tricky. But what I noticed was it does come off fairly easily. The instructions are good in the manual about how to get it off. Obviously you're going to undo the side and bottom snap pieces, and then you'll notice that this one edge here has a little notch in it. The bottom, what is that? I guess the bottom left corner as you face it has a little notch for either finger. And my finger I didn't think was going to work fine, but it does work once you unhook the sides, of course. Now you can see maybe the fingerprints starting to get on the front. There's no fingerprint-proof faceplate that I've ever seen, but I do like the quality of this faceplate. I'm a little concerned about this air pocket thing, and maybe that'll sort of work itself out over time. Again, this is the first day with this, so I will have to give it some time and see how it works. I have no idea how the case impacts sound quality yet, and usability. And just to give you a sense of scale here, okay, so that's the new iPhone 6s Plus, and here's my 5s next to it. So you can see that there is quite a bit of difference in size between those two phones, which explains why I'm keeping the 5s to use as a supplemental device, particularly when I go running. It's a great tool for when I exercise and work out. This beast would just never work. That's the other thing I'm a little bit concerned about, kind of wonder about this, is with respect to Lifeproof, which is the other waterproof case that I had on a previous phone, a 4S I think, is that it's pretty much just the case. There's no attachments to like mount it on your bike, or to, I guess you wouldn't want to carry it running, but there's no like holder for your waist, and again it's probably so big you wouldn't want to do that. So it's pretty much just a case, at least that's all I'm aware of. It's a little tricky to get on. There are some issues I think with maybe this, and you can kind of see there. You can kind of see now in the reflection I think how there's a gap in the faceplate, between the faceplate and the actual phone. So it does seem to work okay. You have to press a little bit further than you think, and there's a slight delay sometimes I've noticed when I, oops, see that, what's happening? There we go. Okay, so, and I'm going to enter the wrong code here, but see how it's kind of not registering? I'm not sure what's going on with that. So that's kind of an issue. So we'll see. It's a good, it's a good sturdy case. There's a lot of pluses to it. I do have some concerns about it. It may end up being a very expensive trial, but there you go. Just thought I'd share my experience. Hopefully you'll find this useful, and I'm sure those of you who have more skills and more iPhones can do more testing on it, but this is an initial video to maybe help people make decisions. Thanks.